Good morning, YouTube friends. This is Candy with Candy Crafty Tales, and here is the video I know so many people have been waiting to see, which is this review of this Ezstitch floor stand. A lot of people, when I posted my pictures that I gotten it on Callie Jenny's Crafty Stitching Facebook page, really liked it. They wanted to know where I got it. They want to know more details about it, and I promised to make a YouTube video on it. I'm going to remind you all, I'm very new at YouTubing, so this is not a professional. I was not asked to do this video. I was not asked to do a review. I'm really just doing this for my friends. I do apologize. You can see my fluffy partner down at the bottom who just walked out of the frame. That is Cookie. I do have several animals. I'm trying to make this as quiet as possible, but we all love our furry partners, right? Life would not be the same without them. So what you see here is the Ezstitch frame, and I have on there a 32-inch frame. This is my Jasmine piece from Painting Fairy. You can see the classic yellow pieces. I will say there's one difference. If you watched frame one, episode 1, I did this in 3 parts. Episode 1 is the frames and the scroll bars. Episode 2, I reviewed some Ezstitch bags they had sent me, and I mentioned the free gift, and you can see here it does actually work. This is episode 3. You can see that I have knobs, and I had mentioned previously that they did sell tension knobs. These knobs are different. The normal knobs look like this. These have a black spacer. You can buy these separately. They're a little bit easier to turn if you're arthritic and you want to make sure you have a tighter tension on your knob. So I do have one set of these, and I have them on this particular piece. And because when I was showing my accessories, this was already on the piece, I did not want to take them off. Okay, so let's talk about the scroll frame. I really have been wanting this for many years. I have had the lap frame, so I've been saving up. It is a little expensive, but I'm going to go back to you get what you pay for. It is made of highly smooth, sanded, polished wood. It's quite beautiful. Even my husband, when I put it together, said, wow, that's really pretty. You will still see some stickers on it because that's what I had to put it together. I haven't removed them. Okay, so let's look. We're going to kind of start from the bottom up. And you can see these legs have these supports on there, ankles and elbows. You'll also see an additional hole. The great thing about these legs is they're very versatile. The feet are very versatile in terms of the placement. So you can change the configuration of the feet depending on where you're sitting. So if you're sitting in a recliner or you're sitting on a couch that has very little space underneath, it allows the configuration of the ankles and the feet supports to be changed around. You can actually move this forward or back. It does not change the stability of the stand, and they do give you instructions on that. There are 2 supports, and then there's a top crossbar. You can see, and I'm going to focus over here on this bottom. This crossbar has an ability to be placed on the top, but if you look lower, there's some additional holes there that actually look at a diagonal. This is the place to move the crossbar down. So if you are watching TV and this is in your way, you can move the crossbar down to a lower support. It just depends on preference. How the length and width of the frame is changed by sliding the crossbar supports out. This can fit a scroll bar from 24 inches to their largest, which is 48 inches. The holes are in 2-inch increments. So how it is you add 6 inches to the frame you have, and that tells you where you want to put your knobs. Okay, so let's talk about the arms and the elbows. So the arms and the elbows, I'm just going to sit down and give myself a little more stability. The arms and the elbows are completely adjustable. So I'm actually considering changing my configuration a little bit. Currently, I kind of have this in a neutral position where I have the arms and the elbows set up kind of flat out, but if I want to move this a little higher to give this a little more eye level, I can do so. I can move this depth in and out depending on where I want to put those arms and elbows supports. So, and I can actually move this in and out. I could move this further back. I can move these further back. They might stick out here behind the piece, but if I was working on something on a recliner and I wanted this more up in front of my face instead of kind of down at an angle, I can do so. And you'll notice that it gives you flexibility all the way up and all the way down. So literally, if I wanted to sit on the floor and work on this, I could. Wouldn't want to do that, but it's interesting that that flexibility is there. This is probably one of the more versatile frames I've seen in terms of changing the configuration to make it 100% compatible for what is best for you when you are stitching. So let's talk about some features on the arm specifically. You'll see that there is a groove all the way back here. This groove is used for supporting, maybe if you have some bobbins, you can stick them in there. A couple of bobbins. You also see two holes. These holes, and I'm going to kind of go for it. There's one all the way through, and there's one that's kind of got a block in there. That's to be able to hold your accessories. So you can put a pen in here if you were working on a counted cross stitch piece, and you can see I've got my threader on this side, and over here I have put my handy dandy pair of scissors. Of course, I do like the extra knobs because you can also see I've hung my reading glasses there because this piece is great. It's a little difficult for me to read sometimes. So these are very basic reading glasses. Yep, we're all getting older. As you can see, I've also attached the light that I was given as a free gift. Yes, it does work. It's got 3 settings and brightness. The only downside that I said was that the cord that it came with was very short. In fact, I'm going to grab that cord. It's only a couple feet long. This was the cord that came with it. It did say that you needed to use the cord with it. What it really was saying is you can't use a high charging cord. You have to use a UBC USB to charge this. You do not want a high fast rate charging cord. It can burn the light out, and it actually won't turn on at all. I already tried it. So I had to go buy a 10-foot cord, which now is allowing me to use the light. But as you can see, it clamps really nicely here. Another thing is you could put clamps up here or on any of the sidebars. It's very, very sturdy. So let's talk about the cons. So for some people, the price is the price point of $450. That's definitely going to be a con. I mean, I'm going to say you got what you pay for. I have waited to see if this would go on sale. It did not. Now, you have to come to the understanding of what you're getting. You're getting wood that has obviously been highly polished, and also the size of the company. We're not talking about a large company. On their Facebook page, they say they have only 7 employees. So this is all handcrafted. And I do know for a fact this is handcrafted because one of the reasons that I waited to show this was because there was a flaw in the original elbow that I got sent. So I'm going to show it right here. You can see that they drilled the holes, they just didn't drill it quite through, and this screw got stuck, and it's supposed to slide freely. So I reached out and called them, and I said, look, I think this piece has a flaw in it. They immediately reached back to me. They were so kind. I got personal service very immediately, and they immediately sent another piece out. Also, I can tell here that somebody got a little drill happy because this drill is in here. So we're talking about something that's handcrafted by people, made in the USA, for those of us who live in the USA, and that's important, by a small group of people who are running a business, and that's going to increase the price. Again, quality is going to increase that. So you're going to get what you pay for, but that definitely might be a con. Another con is there are some limitations on the size that this can do. So the smallest piece that you can do on this frame is 24 inches. So if you have anything smaller, you're going to have to go down to the lap stand, which I showed you in episode 1. So that might be a con for some people. I will tell you there is nothing in using this system that stops you from using a larger frame with a smaller piece. So it comes with the 30-inch rods and the 10-inch sidebars. So if you want to put that on there, you would just have a lot more gap between here and the side of the frame, and that's going to be a little bigger for you. But there's nothing that stops you from putting smaller pieces on the floor stand. You just can't put any rods smaller than 24 inches on the floor stand. Other cons. It is larger to store, but it does completely collapse down, so you can totally move this down to flat and then disconnect the ankles and the feet and slide it under a bed. So some people still might not have that kind of storage, so maybe that's a con for them, but it does lie flat. So that's actually a pro, is that it is easily storable, but when it's set up, it does take some floor space. So maybe that's a con for people, and some people might not want to have to take it up and put it down. Cons. If you want to flip your frame or change your frame size, you have to unscrew it, unscrew the crossbars, reconfigure the size, and put another frame. I know a lot of people have been very excited about another set of frames made of aluminum that the frame just sits on top of the frame stand. I did not like that setup. My husband offered to get me that frame, but I already had many of these scroll bars and frames, and I was like, no, I'd have to start over. I felt like the cost comparison between getting everything with that setup wasn't really going to be any different, plus shipping. So I decided not to get that. Pros. Obviously, I just mentioned the storage. I mentioned the beauty. This frame, I'm not going to do it because my light is on there right now, but if I unscrew these knobs, both of them, and loosen them, I can flip this piece totally around and get to the back of my piece. I do like the fact that they moved to this chew knob system where I can just loosen this to flip it rather than having to use a screwdriver. I love that. I feel like that is just much more user-friendly, and they look really beautiful. Other pros. I can work on insanely big pieces. Like, I was having a really hard time working on this piece on a lap stand. And, you know, if you put it on a table and you're trying to work with both hands, that can become difficult as well. This frees it from getting any stuff on it from another surface. So yes, I really, really enjoy this stand, and it's really beautiful. And I have loved, I've gotten a bench that I'm sitting on right now that I pull it up and I work on it, and then my husband watches TV, and he can sit and watch TV while I'm working on my sewing rather than me being confined or taking up a majority of the couch. I can adjust this, and it doesn't take up the whole couch, it doesn't take up the whole bed. So yeah, I really, really love this piece and really glad I got it. I hope you like this review. If you do, please like it and please subscribe. Please feel free to put comments in there. I really do want to thank Ezstitch Company. Again, they did not pay me to make this, for their lovely free gift that I have attached onto the stand, and just their products that they continue to sell for wonderful cross stitchers like me. Have a great day, and see you on the next video.